Good evening, everyone. It feels like first proper day of summer is here and it's just too hot for me. Anyway, how to get great or good or at least better mid bass in the door. So everybody knows that the door is probably the worst location for mid bass because of the cancellations and the rattles and that kind of stuff. However, I have these silicone thingies. So I made a post about these in Facebook probably like half a year ago, probably more, and it just got lost. So I'm planning to kind of redo it with some extra stuff. So let's see. This is my door, which is probably the worst that I can get. I have a massive hole here, a massive hole here, all the stuff. I put these in and I put these plastic, they're super cheap, it's like 10 quid for both. And the thing is, I just noticed the kinda, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, because basically you have a thing holding it here and one bolt holding it up top and nothing else. So it's not good for the mid bass. But these, do they actually work? So I'm gonna test it. Yeah, my plan is today is to cover these holes with deadener because I don't have any plastic and I cannot mold it because my door card is not flat. You can see all this part is going kind of inside the door, and as you can see like this, I don't know if you can see it, it's going like this. So I cannot fill it with anything solid, so I'm just gonna put deadener on it. And I have a measurement with everything like this. I'm gonna take another measurement without the silicone ring, just with the plastic, no silicone. So basically it's gonna be a gap between the door card and the speaker, with the gap, which is the worst possible scenario. Then I have a measurement with this one. Then I'm gonna put deadener on top to seal these two holes. We'll see if it's gonna make a difference. And if it will be possible, I'll try to put these. So this is aluminium ring with machine inserts and bolts. I'm gonna try to fit it instead of the plastic ring in there to make it super rigid. Or maybe worst case, if I'm not gonna be able to do that, I'm just gonna put deadener all over the place to make a perfect seal around it. And since everybody's asking about these silicone rings, they're comparing them with I think they're called Stinger fast rings, when you have a thick foam layer instead of the ring. So I have some CCF, closed cell foam. It's not thick, but I can stack it up and just make a similar height ring out of foam. And just to compare silicone versus closed cell foam. So that's the plan for today. I'm gonna make some measurements and then we're gonna go through them. Okay, so first illustration is the worst possible scenario. I just removed this silicone ring from the back. It's, I don't know, a bit moldy. So nothing between the driver and the door card, absolutely nothing, and big holes here. So this is the worst scenario possible. I'm gonna do a measurement of that and we're gonna compare it with the improvements. Okay, just remove this one. So this is piece of shite. Yeah. So this is gonna go to the bin. Aluminium ring, so it fits very nicely. Still have some gaps, so these gaps I'm gonna fill them with fiber fill. I have some left, and there we're gonna have 4 machine bolts. I'm gonna put threaded inserts in there, and it's gonna be solid. So one is gonna be comparison between this and this. Okay, I'm gonna try to demonstrate one tool. So is this thingy, which puts these little things, threaded
insert. So basically you have that insert and you have a bolt and it goes in there. So what it does, it puts an insert here. So let me very quickly demonstrate. Open it up, put this thingy on, just like that. Then align it with the hole, put it in the hole, and squeeze the handles. Not too tight though. And then you unscrew it. And you have a perfect insert for your machine bolt. How cool is that? And now with these bolts, you can see them there, just like that. This is rock solid. So this is a gap. I'm gonna fill it up. I'm gonna fill up from the inside as well, from the outside, and it's going to be rock solid. Okay, so it took me actually longer than I expected, but this is kind of the final version of my door now. So I have like probably 2 layers of deadener all over the holes. I made a measurement with only one of the holes covered, the other one open. Now I'm gonna do with both of them covered. I put this one all around as well, fiber fill in the gaps. And the last one I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this one and I'm gonna put the foam instead of the silicone and see if there's any difference. I doubt there's gonna be a difference, but yeah, this looks much better than what it was before. Okay, so probably I have to disappoint you. I won't be doing an experiment replacing this silicone ring with the foam ring because I don't have any more clips. These bloody things keep breaking and breaking and breaking every time. So these clips, you know, they holding the panel in these holes, and every time I take it off, 1 or 2 breaks and I'm just running out of them. So see, the only ones that I have to replace are these, and they're a bit different. So I want to have my panel on, so I won't be doing this because I just don't have any more clips. Everything keeps breaking. So yeah, that's a sacrifice. So just to clarify, yes, every single time I change something, either I remove the ring, put the ring, did one hole, that's the other one, I put the panel back on, removed it, and did it. So I removed it for every single measurement. That's why all those bloody clips are broken. So I just need to buy new clips. Installation part is done. Now is the time to review results. So I did 2 types of measurements. I did from the driver's seat and I did near field. So first of all, there's no smoothing, and let's check what I had before. So I had driver's seat, plastic plus silicone, and now I have the, after everything is done, is driver's seat with aluminium rings and both of the holes covered. So this is what I have now. Let's zoom in a tiny bit. There we go. I'm interested in the response from about 30-ish up to 400 because my particular drivers in my install are crossed at 200. So I'm interested up to 400. However, I'm leaving this top end up to like 3K. Just for the people who want to see, because if you're using the driver in a 2-way, you're gonna cross them at like 2, 3, maybe 5K. So that part may be interesting for somebody else, but for me it's just this middle part between 30 and 200. So the bluish magenta line is the after everything is done. So as you can see, I did gain a lot, And yeah, so let's see from the very beginning. Driver seat, plastic ring with no silicone around it, and with the silicone around it. So as you can see, you are gaining, I would say 3 dB, 3 dB in the very bottom end. This is a cancellation at 66 Hz. This is my car, so it always been there. It's the same for the sub, it's the same for the other driver. I cannot find a way to remove it, so it's just, it is what it is. However, a little bit of gain here, 2 dB, 3 dB here, slightly less cancellation at 150. But the main difference, the main gain is here above, I want to say 600 Hertz. So as you can see here, you are gaining massively. So it's probably 10 dB plus, like from 700 Hertz up to 1.2K. This region, you're gaining massively for the when you put in the silicone, and for some reason here you're losing above 1.5K, you're losing output. I don't know, but for the bottom end, you are gaining 2-3 dB, let's say. So let's compare just the plastic rings and the aluminum rings with no silicone around it. So just a more rigid install, and as you can see, you are gaining in some places, like here at 150 you're gaining, basically almost everywhere you're gaining. However, the cancellation is a bit deeper. I don't know why, but you are gaining. So just by making your install more rigid, you are gaining some output, and it kind of makes sense because you're not losing energy in resonances and vibration, and you're putting it out into the cabin, which is great. Now let's see, aluminium with no silicone and aluminium ring with silicone. So this cancellation is smaller, again like 5 dB on the cancellation, like 3 dB here, 2 dB here, 2 dB. So like, I want to say in the useful range, the silicone rings add about 2 to 3 dB. It depends where you look at it. But the most, again, same, the most gain is above 600-700 Hertz. And like 800 Hertz, you're gaining the most, like 8 dB here as well, up to 1.5K. And 1.5K, something changes and it's completely opposite. You're losing output. So that's the main difference. But again, at the bottom end, useful, you are gaining some. Now, aluminium with silicone. So this is with both of those big massive holes open, as you saw. Now I closed with deadener the smaller hole. So when you're closing the smaller hole, you're not gaining much, as I can see. In some places, you're even losing. You're gaining here at 300 Hertz, but you're losing at between 160 and 200. You're losing. You're gaining some here at about 90. So it's not a big difference. And even here it's not a big difference. So let's close that other hole. And now both of those holes are closed. And now you can see the big difference. So this, I think this color is not really nice. Let me very quickly change it to red. There we go. No. Yeah. A bit darker. Make it a bit darker. There we go. So I'm gaining almost everywhere. This little dip disappeared at 50 Hertz. The cancellation is much smaller, like 4 dB smaller. I'm gaining here about 4 dB, here about 3 dB, 4 dB. At the top end, I'm kind of losing a bit. This cancellation is a bit bigger. However, for me personally, I need it only up to 400 hertz. And above that, it's not that big of a difference. But again, you some places you're losing, some places you're gaining. So that is a bit weird. So at the end, I went from, again, from this to this. Oh, now you can't see anything. But yeah, I gained, and I'm happy about this. Now, very quickly, just check the near field measurements. Do they make a difference? So near field with no silicone and just plastic. If you change the ring for aluminum, changes a bit, like maybe 1 dB more. You're gaining about 1 dB. The biggest difference is here, like 58 hertz. So you're gaining some. Now, if you're adding the silicone to the plastic ones, so you're gaining a lot, like between 55 and 70, you're gaining like 3 dB. And the biggest gains are here, as you can see, below 1K. These are the biggest gains. Now let's see aluminum with no silicone and aluminum with silicone. Very, very similar. You're gaining here, losing a bit here for some reason, and gaining a lot above like 500 hertz, between 500 and 1.5K, and after 1.5K is completely opposite. So this, I don't know, it might be a resonance or something. I don't know. And let's check covering the holes. So covering one hole, you're gaining a bit here above 200 hertz. And covering both holes, surprisingly, you're actually losing. Huh. So yeah, it was an interesting experiment. It was fun. So now I have this response. So this cancellation is still there. Cannot do anything about it. But I gained some. My install is more rigid, and I just went through sine tones to check the resonances. In some places it still resonates, but it's just the door. It is what it is. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.